Yo, 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 we back at it again. Something Out of None Sports Podcast. We got another legend in the building, another legend in the building. He needs no introduction for DC, Maryland, Virginia. Former Cesar Chavez, head basketball coach, now at Bard Public School, High School, and athletic director, head coach for the boys basketball team. I'm talking about no other than Mr. Malcolm Battle. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, brother Tyler. How you doing?
Man, I'm wonderful, man. Just an honor and a pleasure to have you on my platform. And I've been meaning to get you on for the longest. So I'm glad you was able to take time out your busy schedule to come on this platform.
Nah, I appreciate you holding me in high regard. That you thought enough of me to to come down and sit a few ticks with you and talk inner city sports.
Absolutely, absolutely. For those that don't know you, can you give a short, brief background of who you are and things of that nature?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Malcolm Battle, lifelong Ward 7 resident. Grew up in the Benton Road corridor on both sides of East Capitol, Northeast and Southeast.
Yes.
Went to Archbishop Curl.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No, you good.
Went to Archbishop Curl. Um, had some had some behavioral issues and some academic issues, so I never got to play past 10th grade. As an adult, one of those things that you find out as you become a coach. Totally on me though. Nothing in regards to Coach Holmes.
Gotcha.
He had his line in the sand with whomever it was, 1 through 15. And if you couldn't fit into that in all regards, you wasn't gonna be a part of that program. From there, went to Maryland Eastern Shore, had a quick moment as a walk-on there, and at Salisbury State. Again, Malcolm Battle couldn't get his stuff together, and eventually just went in and progressed through school and ended up being a substitute teacher, and that's how I got into education. Gotcha. And I tell people all the time, I'm like Forrest Gump. I just happened to be working with a guy named Mark Sturdivant, who played on some of the better or great Springbrook teams of the late 80s. Gotcha. We were working with a therapeutic mentoring company, and he got a job at Cesar Chavez and was like, hey man, we hiring as we open up this new building in Mayfair Paradise. Would you be interested? And got over there, and kind of things just opened up. I got heavy into high school basketball from there. Had no idea it would kind of like take off to the stratosphere in terms of being so to speak a staple in the community. But we just had a whole lot of talented kids in the building, girls and boys playing different sports. And I wanted to make sure that I had a hand in helping them or guide them in the right direction. So, had a great time there. Didn't end like I wanted it to on my own terms, but hey, right. One door closes, another one opens, and I love where I'm at Bard. I think it's a great program in terms of giving kids an opportunity to get their associate's degree with zero cost to the child or the family. So, all blessings due to Allah on that one.
Yes, indeed. A couple of questions for you, man. I know you on a move and different things like that, but in terms of your coaching career and being the athletic director at the school by now, how long have you honestly been coaching throughout your whole coaching career? How long has it been?
So I initially started off. So I worked part. I mean, I was a substitute teacher, as I mentioned before, in PG County, and I transitioned into a job in PG County at what's called a level 5 school for kids with emotional disabilities and learning disabilities, called the Foundation School. I actually coached there. Okay. I coached the middle school basketball team. So if I'm going by that count, it's probably been close to about 20 years. Okay. But in terms of what everybody follows, which would be Chavez and Bard, it's been roughly, this year is actually 15 years.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so you never knew that coaching was going to be your route. It just so happened that you it's kind of like fell into your lap, so to speak.
Yeah, I had, if you'd have told me, so, I'll, all odds will, I'll be 50 at the end of this month. If you'd have told me 30 years ago at 20 or 20 years ago, I'm gonna be a coach,
Yeah,
like, I would have been like, yeah, okay. Like, it wasn't even on my, it wasn't even in my thought process to be a high school basketball coach.
absolutely.
Um, but I'm glad, as the saying goes, man plans and God just laughs. You never know what the plan is.
Mm, that's a powerful statement saying right there. I gotta use that one. Quick question, because now you transitioned over to the public school league.
Mhm.
You was first at the charter school league. My question to you is, how do you feel about the DC Public Charter School League compared to the public school league? Is it a difference to you, or is it around about the same?
It's roughly the same. I mean, when you to me, public schools and charter schools, I know they're not the same, but they innately deal with the same kid. Like, it's really no difference in the student being educated at Chavez and it is the student being educated at HD Woods. Um, Now how they're financed and all that, that's how you get into all those particulars. In terms of level of competition and play, is roughly the same. It's ebbs and flows to it. I remember one year, um, I want to say 2016, the
Mhm.
charter school conference, and they had an A and a B division. The A division was like really, really good. Friendship was good. They lost to Woodson in the city title game.
Right.
Idea was really good. Um, we weren't we were good. Chavez, National Collegiate was good.
Mhm.
And there was one other team, like 5 out of the 7 teams, they're good Marsh.
Okay.
Also. Um, and then you flip that around, fast forward to 2022-23, on paper, if you're going by just what different schools had before we played the game, I think it's gonna be a really, really, really strong year in DCIAA. Like, I think people really need to understand that there's gonna be a lot of parity in the league. Um, and like, there will be no, oh, that they such and such is playing Bard. I ain't going to that game, or uh this team is playing that team. Like, you might want to get your popcorn ready 85% of the time this year in these league games. It's going to be really, really, really competitive.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ben, as though you said that, because have there been a point where it wasn't competitive, where you might be like, well, I don't want to go to that game. I know there's no need.
So I wasn't in the league. I know I've spoken to some guys, and it was like some years the DCIAA has been top heavy, but once again, I believe that's just public and charter schools overall, because you're dealing with neighborhood kids, coaches are coming and going, admin changes, and they take an emphasis off, they de-emphasize sports. Um, but sometimes you have a perfect storm and everything comes together and it becomes a grind nightly. But for the most part, when I was coaching the charter league, it was pretty much competitive, especially in that A division most nights. Like, you might have one team that was having a down year,
Right.
but those 5 other teams, you were gonna have to go in and grind. Like, there was no gimme to go over tech prep. It was no gimme to go over Thurgood or Friendship, um, National Collegiate over off Atlantic when they was playing at the Merrick Center. Like like tough places to play with kids that like may not be on anybody's 2 or 3 star, but they were grinded out kids that play hard and had a skill set that they could play some level of college basketball, and they thought they were going to win a game, and that is a dangerous combination.
Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of all that, I'm gonna go back because you said, you never thought that you would, 30 years ago or 20 years ago that you would be in a position that you are now. what made you become or getting into becoming an AD? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. I just, as I working at Chavez, I was a dean of students,
Mhm.
and I slowly, uh, I started almost like on a volunteer basis, helping a good friend of mine, Ernesto Natero, who is the AD there, with middle school sports. I thought it'd be a good way for the school to kind of reinvest in the kids in the building and to keep those kids in the building so we could recycle them back into our high school programs. Um, from that, I thought, hey, this, you know, I genuinely love kids. I genuinely love sports. This is not like work at all. Like I get to work, do two things I love the most: be around kids and be around sports. Um, so for me, it was a win. And then I ended up getting a job at Boys and Girls Club of America in the Greater Washington chapter, and it was like, oh, you can't ask for anything better. Night
Absolutely.
in, night out, everything you do is sports and kids.
Yeah.
Couldn't ask for anything more. So I, I've I've tried to have conversations with our young folks about when the ball stops bouncing and you want to stay around the game, finding different avenues, whether this be a trainer, and I don't mean like a skill development trainer. I mean like you taping ankles, a sports trainer, or AD, or different avenues that you can still stay around sports,
Yeah.
make a good living,
Yeah.
and take care of your family and still be around stuff that you love, as opposed to having a job that you every morning you wake up like, shh,
I
I gotta
got
go do this.
you. Right. Right.
Like you trying to figure out what you can call the boss and tell him you ain't coming in today for, as opposed to most days I look forward to going to work. Now you got to deal with some other things in the school system, but from a sports perspective, I love what I do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know you just we was talking offline and you said that you was coming from a volleyball game. Can you talk about, because a lot of people, in and correct me if I'm wrong, in DC sports doesn't view volleyball as a heavy hitter sport, but I love all sports. So can you talk about your volleyball program and how it's leveling up to because when you talk about the different counties, you want Montgomery County, you know what I'm saying, and Fairfax and different things, their volleyball programs are a step ahead, and even in the Catholic schools. Can you talk about your volleyball program and where you wanted to get to?
So I let me say this before I talk about my own volleyball program. I've seen roughly about 8 or 9 DCIAA games, and because we don't have a home gym, we normally go to another gym and they play a doubleheader. For instance, tonight we play Eastern at Woodson, and then Woodson had a game after that. So
Okay.
I've got a chance to see a lot of volleyball. Man, some of these young ladies are so athletic, and I don't know what level of play they're doing once the season is not. I know there's club volleyball, so on and so forth. I don't know if these young ladies are participating in that, but man, if they aren't, they need to. Because I mean, some of these young ladies have a high ceiling in terms of like scholarship players.
Right.
Um, it it's opened my eyes to watching more volleyball on my own. I like my hat goes off to a lot of these young sisters that's playing. Like I I'm not sure if they want to do it,
Right.
but if I could put all of them in a room, I would really push the narrative of using their abilities.
Right.
What's up? What you find? I would use their abilities to get some free education because it's a lot of sisters. Um, like I said, that I watched in the DCIAA. Like, man,
Dude.
young lady play like,
Right.
jeez, and like, oh, I don't think she want to play college volleyball. I'm like, why not?
Yeah. Why
But I
not?
mean, part of it is I know a lot of times our kids struggle with the time management piece. That's
Right.
a whole another conversation for another day. But
Right.
I would just wish they would give it a chance and see if it's something that you know, they can stick with through the college ranks and take advantage of it. Like I've been super impressed with the level of play. in
Right.
this league in volleyball and the athleticism
Absolutely.
and the competitive nature, but not in a negative way. Like I haven't seen any like anything that would be egregious to the point of starting fights. Like our kids have been competitive, and then they're waving and dapping each other about the games. I haven't. It's just been like hats off to the league and the volleyball teams and large. Like I've been really impressed. As far as my own program,
Right.
like those young ladies don't have an idea how impressed they've made me, and they've made me a volleyball fan. Like I stated before, I want the volleyball program, as well as all our other programs, to be like A1. And that doesn't necessarily mean you win championships, but how we conduct ourselves, that we play hard, and that if you want to give yourself to get a college scholarship, you can use what we're doing to kind of like use that as a springboard to get a free education, especially with the associate's degree. So that's the goal for all our entire sports programs, is that we consistently are conducting ourselves like stud class student athletes. And if we want to give ourselves an opportunity, that we open those doors for our girls and our boys, um, to take advantage of those opportunities that might be out there.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, about the volleyball program, why is it no men's volleyball at all?
I have no idea. I have no idea. It's funny you asked me that. Somebody just asked me that last week, and I
Yeah,
couldn't get my answer.
yeah, that because I
Couldn't get
was
my
just thinking about that. I'm like, well, everybody don't play football, and they might want to play volleyball.
They might want to play volleyball. I mean, and you know what? It might be something we need to look into. I mean, I know they just did an article on Eastern, and the gentleman that runs the program I'm about to speak about was
Right.
very helpful and instrumental in helping me get esports started at our school.
Okay.
Um, but that's another one where I feel like with all our kids with all our kids playing games and things of that nature, that we should have more kids involved in. Um, and it's a scholarship sport now.
Yep.
Playing NBA 2K is a scholarship sport. So I'm with you. If it those non-traditional sports,
Right.
I'm all for our kids getting involved and using that again as a springboard to get out of DC and see what else is out there.
Absolutely. Couple of more questions, man. The the DCSAA, years ago, the winner from the DC public schools would play the champion from the Catholic school league. Do you ever think that it will get back to that when we have our states now, the state
Nah, I
champion?
mean, I think the version, I think in this day and age, I think everything is for every era, right? So I grew up in the era of city title game,
Yeah.
and the high school team that I did not get to play on played in it. We played Dunbar '89, lost in a great game. Um, but I think that era has passed us, right? I mean, when you start talking about charter schools and you start talking about the wealth of private schools that play at a super high level, like why wouldn't I want to see the game I saw last year with Sitwell and Wilson? You know what I'm saying? Um, I can't go into, and no disrespect to those teams on that side of the equator, but
Yeah.
Bard can't go play for the Maryland State title, right? So why would Joe Blow in Montgomery County, even though it's a private school, be able to play for the DC city title? Like in this day and age, with the the litany of teams we have in the city, it just doesn't make sense. So the way this set up now, I think it's the best way. And I think it gives everybody an opportunity, whether it's Gonzaga or St. John's,
Yeah.
Roosevelt and McKinley, Chavez and Friendship Collegiate, or Sitwell or Murray. Like everybody gets an opportunity to sit at the table and try to get a title, as
Absolutely.
opposed to two different leagues, and that's it.
Um, Last year was Bard's first year playing in a public school league, or right? Correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong,
we
right?
played. It was our first. It was our first year having sports, and our first year in the DCIAA.
Right. And can you talk about last year leading up? I mean, not even leading up to this year, but can you talk about last year and the things that you had to endure uh leading up to you getting into the championship game?
Um, I mean, we some of the things we all had to deal with: pandemic, COVID, school got shut down, so we had to forfeit games. A lot of people don't know that we're housed inside Davis Elementary temporarily until our school is finished being built.
Yes.
Has no gym. So when we could, we had to we had access to Ridge Road at times. But there were times we didn't have access to a gym, so we had to try to figure it out on the fly. But the biggest thing I got out of last year was that, you know, those kids saw their way through, right? Like they never put their head down. I just was talking to my volleyball coach about this.
Mhm.
People remember the last game of the year. Nobody remembers. Those kids had to take they had to take some whippings.
Right.
We lost 14 games. I would say 10 of them were like, we got thrashed pretty severely.
Right. Yo.
Like, it happens. And you figure out the testament of somebody by how they handle adversity. To me, those young men and the brothers that coached them, like they persevered.
Right.
Forgive me, my neighbors outside playing.
Absolutely.
But I was thoroughly impressed with the fact that those young men, and again the staff as well, because they give a lot of time to those kids and their parents. They didn't waver at all. Like they held fast. Because I can at times not be so pleasant to to be around, but those kids they pushed it forth through. So, you know, would I like to win a title? Absolutely, but it wasn't our time. Pass off to Baloo. But again, I think it speaks volumes to those young men that they, with all the equities that took place last year, that they never put their heads down and like, we can't get this done. They didn't use the nobody wants us to win. Nobody won't do X, Y, and Z for us. They figured it out. And ultimately, like all teams, they played on the last day of the seasons, which you basically want, no matter what sport you're playing. So, um, I guess I'd rather like shine a light on not what we didn't have and more on what those kids did rather in spite of.
Right.
And it, it wouldn't be us. Like, you know, tough, grimy Southeast kids, they gonna figure it out, man. Like,
Right.
yeah, we ain't making no excuses. We figure it out, and then we keep going from there.
Right. Um, if I was a parent and I'm looking to come to your school or send my child to your school, why Bard? Can you give me an example of why? What would make me want to come to that particular school and play for you or any other coach that coaches with y'all?
Uh, First off, I would say that we have some great educators. I think the associate's degree program. I'm doing some work. I'm on a podcast. See, look, you get interrupted. See what I'm saying? I'm getting picked on. I'm good. I'm good, fam. Appreciate you, twin. Um,
He said, "Do some work."
yeah, do some work. I'm going to say the degree piece is mean, Coach Tyler. Like you can get 60 college credits. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like do we have some things we have to clean up? Absolutely. Like most schools. Like we got to get better with dealing with certain behaviors in the classroom management, holding kids accountable.
Yeah.
We got to get better dealing with these kids coming out of a pandemic and being locked down for a minute. We got to get better with telling mom, hey, or dad, this is how it's going to be, and this is the line and sign instead of wavering at times. But I think that I haven't been in a school that hasn't had to deal with that to fix those things.
Right.
But when we get those things squared away, man, that degree pieces mean
Right.
like you literally give yourself a whole litany of opportunities
Absolutely.
especially if you can get to college and finish that out. Like you might walk away with a master's with zero with $0 in debt. And
Right.
so, for most of our kids who come from Ward 7 and Ward 8,
Right.
now you start to change some of that generational poverty that these kids are coming from. We have a lot of kids that are they'll be first time college graduates when they graduate from high school. Like all that kind of changes a lot of stuff. And if you don't want to go to college and you had associates and you decide you want to get a trade, you still got that piece of paper on your wall. So outside of any basketball piece that I could ever give a kid, those things right there kind of for me are big time selling pieces.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, and this is a question I have for you, and I don't know if you know, but I always thought about that associates, get the associates out of high school. How would that work in the NCAA? Meaning, if I already got a 2-year degree, right, with my 60 credits, can I still go to the university that want me as a freshman and finish my would I finish early, or how would that go? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, no, we have a young man playing up at Plattsburgh in New York right now at a D3, geez, I can't think of Dern's last name.
Yeah.
But great kid, great family. He's up at Plattsburgh playing.
Yeah.
And he walked into the school as a junior academically.
Right.
But athletically, he's a freshman. Now you can finish early, with this portal stuff. Not for him, but I'm just saying in general, if that became an issue, or like Darren is planning to do, if the school has a grad school program, you can play all 4 through and graduate with your master's.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And again, the biggest thing I go back to is with zero debt.
Zero debt.
Zero debt. Well, you ain't got Sally Mae beating your door down when you 50. Looking for some money from 1991. Nah, you good.
Absolutely. And that's one of the positive things. I knew you was going to touch on that. That's one of the great things that I like about BOD and you guys' curriculum and adding that associate's degree onto even if I wanted to play a sport or not, I got that option.
Yes, absolutely. I think we're going to have, this year is going to be really great for us because we're going to have a lot of young men and women that are playing sports all over the city. If it's a sport that we don't have at BAR,
yes,
that are going to sign some form of a scholarship. And, for me, it's going to they're going to walk onto that campus with those, at least because some schools don't take all the credits because it's a liberal arts program.
Yes.
So you at least will walk onto a campus with 42 to 48 credits at a minimum, 60 at max.
Yes.
I mean, that's mean for a lot of these young folks.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
Game changer. Like, man, no doubt about it. And so again, it may not be for everybody, but when parents call, I normally speak to that piece. Like the basketball, if you can play, or if you're a football kid, or whatever it may be, whatever your sport is, those things will work itself out. But I just think you change your recruitment. You change how you can have a dialogue with a college with that associate's degree, or if you don't graduate the associate's degree, because that will happen for some kids, you've gotten a bunch of college credits with, again, and I'm gonna keep stressing this, no debt.
No debt.
No debt. No debt.
We got to change your name to No Debt Battle.
No debt battle. I like it. Yes.
hey, we gonna stress that too. We can't stress it no more, right?
Oh, what? Man.
Bard, the not just the men's side, because and I'm giving you both questions because you are the athletic director. as well as the boys basketball coach. But what can we expect from the boys basketball team this year in this upcoming season? And can you talk about that? And can you talk about your scheduling and different things of that nature?
Um, so I mean, we definitely gonna play hard.
Yeah.
I can't tell you we gonna win every game, but we gonna play hard for 32 minutes. We're gonna get out there for 32 minutes. Um, schedule is I always try to schedule as tough as possible. Um, to see how we'll respond to being punched in the mouth. Are we gonna kind of duck or take the punch and that punch back, or are we gonna be all right with
Yeah.
getting jabbed over and over? So the schedule isn't finished, but what we have confirmed is like Glendale Country Day out of Columbia. They run a really, really great program. We
Okay.
have St. Mary's Riken. We have Tech Prep. Um, we play in one or two events. So we're waiting to finalize what teams we'll play in those two events.
Yeah.
I'm missing somebody. I'm missing somebody. I'm missing somebody. I'm missing somebody.
Mhm.
We go out to Baltimore to play Owens Mills.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, we trying to raise the bar in terms of like seeing different styles of play,
Yes.
um, and creating more film for our young men that we can push to schools. Um, if player X is supposed to be like that, and he go to school John Q, and they supposed to be like that, well, let's go find out. Let's go see where we stand in front of them because a lot of our kids don't play on the tennis shoe circuses though. So
Right.
we got to use we got to use our non-season schedule, our non-league schedule, as those types of events.
Absolutely.
And it's been my experience at Chavez that one kid, one game can change a kid's whole recruitment outlook. I remember going out to Montrose and the kid, we got handled pretty well, but the kid probably went for 25, 30.
Right.
Next thing you know, he's got 2 or 3 NAI offers and he's off been enrolled and he's at school playing college basketball and he's got a degree and now he's a homeowner. Um, or we go out to St. Francis and, kid Ty Elliott that played for us, like really plays well. Um,
Right.
really plays well. And we send the film to Coach Burrows and Coach P up at West Virginia State. And next thing you know, we got a Chavez pipeline going to West Virginia State. We got 3 or 4 kids playing up there now. So
Right.
sometimes in a loss there's a win.
Right.
Um, and then again, always trying to find out how kids respond to adversity. Like if you how you gonna handle this? If you can't handle this, how you gonna handle when we go up Wisconsin Avenue and play Wilson? How
Right.
you gonna handle when we go over uh Goodhoe Road and play Anna? How you gonna handle when we off North Capitol at McKinley Tech? How you gonna handle that pressure off Georgia Avenue when we up Rose? You can't handle this right now, we gonna be in trouble when we get in the league play.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Question. I think we talked about this before, and maybe you can talk about it, maybe you can't. Transfer portal. After your ninth grade year, you're not able to transfer to a school without documents or whatever, so to speak. How do you feel about that in reference to the kid and stopping them or stopping them from playing the following year if they wanted to transfer to another DC public school or
Gotcha. So you get it. You get from the ninth to the 10th. You get a ninth. What's called a ninth grade exception. You get to transfer
yep,
without issue.
yep,
Um. Now, having said that, I feel bad for those kids that were ninth graders during the pandemic and
mhm,
didn't get a season or get to transfer. Like they went in. They Some of those kids didn't see the school until they were 10th graders,
right,
so they didn't get to transfer.
right,
They didn't get that. They didn't get that ninth grade reciprocity. So
right,
that's something to think about as well. In terms of transferring, like, am I big on a kid bouncing around? Nah, I don't think kids should be at 4 schools. I don't think kids should be at 4 schools Sorry about that. For
No,
4 years.
you good.
But I also believe, like, if Coach Tyler want to leave Bard and he want to go over the roads
Yeah,
and he want to go to friendship or idea, what have you.
right.
If the school doesn't have a problem with the kid transferring, then I don't think it should be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Now, I get it, like they negate the whole bouncing around year after year. Like, cool, understood. But the reality is, some of these kids go to these schools not because of the academic track of the school, or they go to the school because of the athletic program and the coach. Like, we got to stop. You almost create a lot of unnecessary nonsense by just like negating the honesty piece. You
Absolutely.
know why we know why kids are transferring to certain schools.
Right.
I've been on both sides of it. Kid left Chavez. He went to this school.
Right.
If you don't want to be here, you want to be there. I'm gonna sign it so you can be there. If that's where you want to be, like why I never understood why hold a kid back. Again, I understand that now 4 years and 4 schools in 4 years is, to me, absolutely crazy.
It's tremendous. It's like,
That to me, that's a whole nother set of issues. But if a kid leaves once and he's looking for a better opportunity, whatever that may be, my situation may not be the situation for that kid. It may be where I sat down with that kid and was like, look, we got 4 guards. You're probably not gonna play as much. And the kid's like, well, I want to go here. Man, look, here's the letter. I'm with you. Like, let me know how I can help. If I can call a school, but I don't want you to be caught up in a numbers game.
right.
I think if we were allowed to have more honest dialogue, it wouldn't be so much. I think sometimes when you're trying to create rules, you almost create people, ways to try to get around rules, if
Right.
that makes any sense.
Right.
Instead of us just being flat out honest, if everybody comes to the table like, I don't have a problem with the kid leaving, the parents are like, this is what it is,
Right.
yada, 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 let's move forward.
Right.
But what do I know? What do I know?
I had to get your perspective on it though. I just had
Uh,
to.
hey, Coach Tyler, man, people been transferring forever, man. It's not a new phenomenon. Like, as much as we might want to make it feel like it is. Now, I don't know about the 4 schools in 4 years and all that nonsense,
Right.
but people transferring has been going on since I was in high school in the 80s. Like, this isn't new. I just, again, I don't think if the school you're leaving from doesn't have an issue,
Right.
and the school accepting you doesn't have an issue, and your transcript is above water,
Yeah.
I make it happen. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Now, and that's just if I'm not getting into all the politics of, oh, nah, he from this jurisdiction. Now, that's something completely different that I wouldn't want to touch on. But if I'm talking about a city kid who been a city kid for X amount of years and was at this school and then he wants to go to that school, I
Right.
have at it. Like,
Right.
as long as it's honor among thieves, I haven't, there have been times where I didn't pick up the phone as quickly as I should when a kid was leaving me.
Right.
And I've been on the opposite end of not getting a call. So I own, me personally probably needed to do that better. But as long as some honor among thieves with this,
Right.
you cut down on a lot of nonsense. Like, because parents probably aren't going to say anything. It hasn't always been my experience. Sometimes it has, sometimes it hasn't.
Right.
But if the coaches like, nah, Slim, I got a call from your kid, parent,
Yeah.
yada, yada, yada. Or we tell the parent, hey, man, look, that's my guy. You got X amount of time. And if I don't hear from him and he don't reach out to me and he don't know what's going on, then I'm going to reach out. Again, I've done it more times than not, but there have been times I haven't.
Right.
For whatever reason, or just like I didn't get to it. But I feel like if there's some more honor among thieves with this coaching thing in terms of parents reaching out X, Y, and Z, or handlers reaching out, so on and so forth, as well as not recruiting each other's kids,
Right.
then things will be a little more streamlined and calmer. But
Right.
you know, as always, not the nature of this.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
Um, you know, again, I've been on both sides of the equation.
Right.
I haven't always done right on both sides of the equation in terms of how I handled it, losing a kid or gaining a kid. So we're all a work in progress. Um,
Absolutely.
just try to do better day to day and taking accountability for what we can control.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Couple of more questions, Coach. You coach some of the top players in the area, whether it's at Cesar Chavez or AAU or at Bard for your 1 year. Can you talk about some of your former players that's doing well, and even if they not, or some people that you came across, and I think he got cut off. But man, we was talking to Coach Battle. Head men's basketball coach at Bard High School, and it's going to be located in Southeast DC. If any of y'all want to reach out to Coach Battle when he gets back on, we're going to give the information where you can reach him at. Gotta hopefully it won't take him long to get back on. Got a couple of more questions for him to talk about his former players and some of the players that I know personally that's doing absolutely wonderful in the in the city and out the city that he has coached is great. There's a lot going on as far as that is concerned, but he's coached some of the top uh, athletic basketball boys throughout the city, and the list goes on and on. Did a phenomenal job at Bard last year as they reached the championship game in a state tournament, which was phenomenal because as you heard, they wasn't doing as well that year. So it's just an honor and pleasure to talk to Coach Battle. During this interview. Hopefully, come back on soon and finish up what we was talking about. Um, yeah, it's just phenomenal being on here, being able to talk to him and get his perspective for his team and hearing from him, like you heard him say they're gonna play hard, uh, and play hard 32 minutes. So stuff like that. Yeah. Trying to get him back on as we speak. Coach Battle. Yeah. Trying to reach out to him and make sure he come back on so we can finish this phenomenal interview. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot going on, man. Stay tuned to S.O.O.N Sports Podcast, interviewing all the local coaches, all the coaches from around the area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, and even state to state, getting a perspective on different head coaches, players, entrepreneurs, different people like that. So it's good to talk to uh, Coach Battle as I'm trying to get him back on as we speak. Uh, you know, it's been a phenomenal interview. We was going to touch on. I was asking him about his former players and his current players, and it's just been a good journey to get back on. Not sure if he's going to be able to come back on, but if not, you know, we will get him back on in the near future. If you want to reach out to Coach Battle, I'll get the information that you need to reach out to him. And definitely, so you can hit him up and basically any questions you have about your student athlete or just a student that want to go to Bard High School. And as you heard right here, you can get a associate's degree coming out of high school, which is phenomenal. And I don't know what else to say about that, but you know, we're gonna come back and hopefully I can get Coach Battle back and we can go from there. Yes, it's been phenomenal though. Phenomenal interview, S.O.O.N Sports Podcast. And definitely stay tuned to what's going on. Check out and subscribe to the channel. S.O.O.N Sports Podcast. That's on YouTube. That's on Spotify. Stay tuned to everything we got going on. Don't forget upcoming interview. I like to surprise y'all, so I don't tell y'all who coming on, but we got another HD Wilson alumni, phenomenal guy. Next week, same time, same day, dropping them every Tuesdays. Football season starts, so we going on every Tuesday, and we're going to give it to you every Tuesday because football season. After football season is over, we're going to go back to every Monday. So stay tuned. S.O.O.N Sports, and I'm out. Peace.